Welcome to the Real Academy, brought to you each Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time by
The Resilience Doctor,
Dr. Sheikah Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor, best-selling authors, consultants, and speakers of Create and Educate LLC. Create and Educate LLC is an educational consultant and literary firm that provides professional development to schools and community. Their goal is to transform organizations with the REALL resilient framework used to increase their school report card grades 2 and 3 grade levels in 1 year. REALL stands for Respect, Excellence, Accountability, Literacy, and Leadership. This framework is used to coach leaders and teachers and build student efficacy while putting systems in place that aligns the work of the school improvement, making the process manageable. When the work is manageable, teachers and leaders don't stress out or burn out.
The Resilience Doctor.
Alignment systems are designed to help schools evolve and grow, all while instituting protocols and processes designed to promote collaboration and collegiality. The implementation of the alignment framework prevents some of the most common problems in education, where leaders sometimes aren't sure where to start, or in our new age of educating, leaders need a trusted sounding board that allows them to be vulnerable and transparent, preventing loneliness at the top. The framework doesn't just help leaders, but also prevents teachers from burning out from too many initiatives and embracing teachers as they are the experts. Finally, the framework extends to the children, helping them get engaged in school and solving a nationwide problem. Alignment systems are frequently referred to as a key element of success in the improvement process. In the sport of rowing, all rowers must put their oars in the water, succinctly creating a system for their boat to reach maximum speed. So schools that want to improve are bringing in
The Resilience Doctor
to teach them all about the alignment systems that must be in place for school improvement to be accomplished at high levels. The dynamic duo provides insights into educational topics through their international platform, which includes educators, parents, and community members as a way to support important entities that make communities thrive. This is their way to pay it forward and provide the support they needed through their platform. Take a look. People who work with
The Resilience
describe them as
Doctor.
an excellent and inspiring group of leaders. They get into the weeds of work with leaders through their TrustMate Institute that you should contact them about today by filling out the contact form on their website.
Great morning, everyone. It is Super Saturday, and welcome to episode 224 of the Real Academy, brought to you by Create and Educate with your very own Resilience Doctors. I'm Dr. Sheikah Houston.
Good morning, everyone, and I am Dr. Tammy Taylor. Welcome and thank y'all for joining us.
Absolutely. And if this is your first time tuning in and you're wondering who are the Resilience Doctors,
We are super glad that you asked. We are best-selling authors, children book authors, award-winning educators, and speakers who transformed our schools with the report card movement of 2 and 3 levels in just a single year.
absolutely. And as senior staff developers for Create and Educate, we know what that school transformation begins with belief. And we will equip your students and staff with the real framework that ignites teachers and student efficacy in our schools for major transformations to take place. And that real framework is over both of our shoulders if you can see it. So bring us to your schools and your districts. John Hattie's research tells us that collective teacher efficacy yields 1.6 years of growth, and student efficacy yields 1.3 years of growth. So, this is how schools become resilient.
Absolutely. And if you can't bring us in, then keep tuning in to the Real Academy every Saturday morning, where we have impacted over 300,000 educators and about 7 million students, all free Fantastic Four PD, starting off each Saturday, which has been deemed as Super Saturday by Principal Kafele. We start at 10 a.m. with our big brother in the work, Principal Sean Hurt, who was on this morning. And thank you so much, Principal Hurt, for the shout outs this morning. And then yours truly, Create and Educate in the Real Academy at 10:30. And then again, at 10:55, the leader's mentor and the GOAT of all things education and leadership in the New Principles and AP Academy with Principal Kafele. And then we round that out on Sunday evenings with our PGP podcast with our friends Dr. Marty Moreno and Principal Josh Tovar. So we ask that you like, share, subscribe, send stars, comment, do all of the things that the platforms require to help us to build our algorithms. So we say please and thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you again. Principal Hurt has us elated and on fire with him sharing that he ordered the book, as you can see here. And we also have Dr. Roz's book as well about math. And we got the GOAT's book, Principal Kafele's book. So, like he said, go on Amazon, order all three. But I'm going to share very quickly our ad that has been trending, and the people are really liking Amir's Awakening. So stay tuned. Here's the ad, and y'all tell us what you think if you hadn't seen it.
If the Book of People with African Ancestry were a book of 1,000 pages, the story of our enslavement would begin on page 1998 and would only be 2 pages long. As quoted by Atlantis Browder, author, teacher, historian. So, if public schools have focused on those 2 pages from kindergarten to 12th grade, where are your children going to get the information for the other 998 pages of their history? Where are you going to get it? Amir's Awakening is a great place to start, according to world-renowned educator, Millikan Award winner, and global speaker, Principal Baruti Kafele, who described Amir's Awakening as a must-read for children and adults.
All right, so that is our ad, and it has been shared tremendously. I think it has like 8,000 views so far. So please go on to Amazon or the other link that I'll put in here in just a moment and order Amir's Awakening. 2 school districts have contacted us about being vendors to get bulk orders. So we are also doing bulk orders for schools. You can email us about that. That's New York City public school district, as well as Baltimore public school district. So we would love to have Amir's Awakening in multiple school districts. So please order and also tell us what you think. People are loving it so far. Thank you. Principal Kafele says he just ordered as well. So we appreciate you and your endorsement and your support always.
Yes.
So let me see where we are, because I've lost my place. Oh, we're at shout outs. Here we go. All right. So I'm too excited. That's why I'm losing my place. So thank you all for joining us. You know that it's Real Fam shout out time. So AP Patrick Lawrence from Connecticut, thank you for joining us. We got Constance Sherrod in the house from Mississippi. Thank you for joining us. David Bell from Benton Harbor, Michigan. Thank you for joining us. Coach McKeever Jeter. Thank you for joining us. We have Stacy L. Joy, new assistant principal, Dr. Rella Hicks. And let's see. Dr. Edwin Garcia, and congratulations again. He is the assistant principal of the year. In his area. We shared it on our page, so well deserved. Congratulations. Keep up the great work. Principal Sean Hurd, our brother in this work, and also Fantastic Four member. Thank you again. And Tammy, if you could go down some of the as I'm reading these, put the other ones up, the comments. We are without our platform engineers, as you all can see.
I was wondering what was happening over there. Okay.
Diana Klingman, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. Donna Trinae Will Dana Trinae Williams from our area, thank you for joining us. She's one of our own from our district. Queen Jacqueline Harriet from Canada, thank you for joining us. Our sister, also from our area, Mrs. Dr. Joni Dubose, thank you for joining us. Mary Felton, thank you for joining us. Rashard Davis, thank you for joining us. And let me see if I missed anybody. Charlena Hattie, thank you for joining us. So we appreciate each and every one of you. And we better go ahead and get started before we are out of time again. So that brings us to episode 224 of the Real Academy. And we're going to base this off of the real comment of the week last week. Came from Maria Higgins. That was part 2 of the right work for assistant principals. And she said that she would like to hear more about when the trust is broken. So last week we kind of talked about how when you're an administrative team, that trust has to be there. And she wanted to hear more about when the trust is broken. So we're going to start off episode 224 with making sure that you are intentional about building that trust. Now, we have a questionnaire as well as some great team building activities that kind of gives a new administrative team what their styles are, what things to kind of keep awareness around about yourself. You really have to have a lot of self-awareness to build the right team for yourself. You don't want to surround yourself with people who are exactly like you. That wouldn't be to the best benefit of yourself as a leader, nor the school, because you kind of want people who can accentuate your strengths, but also fill in areas that may not be your strong suit. So building that trust to me starts with transparency, honesty, making sure that they have a clear understanding of what the vision is, how to support it. And I always think that it's best, even though you're working with a new assistant principal, that you still ask the question, how can I best support you in this role? Now, we know the assistant principal is there to support the vision of the principal, but you also want to know what is their vision for their role in supporting you, because that vision may be different than even what you thought about, even though they are supporting you in the role. So I think it's important to ask the question so that you can have a clear understanding of, well, how do they see the position? And, you all can come to a consensus on what that would be. We talked about those roles and responsibility sheets last week, but building that trust, there has to be some intentionality behind that. But now, when the trust is broken, I'll let Tammy jump in here, and then I'll jump back in as well about how to mend things when trust is broken.
Yeah. Just going back to though that building of trust, because there has to be intentionality, Shika. You are 100% correct about that. It's not just going to happen. You have to create a school dynamic, a team dynamic, a administrative group dynamic that speaks to the fact that we are going to be transparent with each other. And that transparency really has to happen in the communication. You have to be willing to share openly. You both have to be in a situation where you are under it's an understood norm that we're going to avoid surprises. Like there are not going to be any blind sides. And when things are difficult, instead of us just ignoring them or kind of skirting around them, we have to talk about it and talk about what the why is behind the decisions that are being made. Encourage each member of the team, because some teams have multiple people on them. We have to encourage people to feel like they are their voices are valued and they are willing to be heard. So you do that though by modeling what you said before, honesty, and making sure that that communication is consistent and is done with integrity. Because if you're not willing to be a person of integrity, then there is going to be no trust.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be willing to own your mistakes. Both. I mean, you have to own your mistakes, because if you don't own your mistakes, then there will be no trust, because you lose your credibility. Now, in my opinion, what happens and how you navigate that if that trust gets broken, especially in the way of communication, deal with the head on. Don't skirt around it. Don't tiptoe around it. Don't walk around each person on eggshells. Deal with what is at hand. And once you deal with it, be done with it.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that, Tammy, wholeheartedly. And I'll just share from a personal experience, and I know that the assistant principal that worked with me won't mind me sharing this. She came on new with me. She was the person that I had selected to work with me on the team, but she was a person who was coming from the central office to work with me because she wanted that building level leadership experience. And I did have that candid, very real conversation. Listen, you're coming to work here. You may have relationships at the central office, but what I do not expect to hear is everything that's going on at our school up there at the central office. And I know I hadn't contacted anybody on the phone or called them about any, support or information. So I want to be upfront about that is the expectation. And she did. She understood that. She understood where I was coming from. And it's important to make sure that if you have things like that, that you are direct, upfront, and very real about things. Because, like I said, people respect transparency. But again, going back to where if things are broken, then you have to do things from a resolution standpoint. I mean, you have to confront the conflict. And if you are a person who doesn't like conflict, it's really difficult to be successful in leadership because you are going to come into conflict a lot. And it may not necessarily be with your assistant principal, but putting out fires, conflicts between adults, the children, the community members, conflicts are a big part of what you do. So you can't be afraid to broach conflict, but you do have to broach it the correct way. And I do feel like that's one of my strong suits as far as broaching the conflict. Listen, this is what's going on. This is how I took it. This was the offense. I don't know if that was the intention behind what happened, but this is what I didn't like about it. So how can we repair this and move forward from here? So you do have to lay it out on the table. You can't be walking around mad and don't nobody know why you mad. You can't be walking around upset and slamming things around, acting like you don't have good emotional intelligence, because then how is anything going to get done? So you do have to be able to say what it is. You got to have some self-awareness about yourself. Say what it is, broach it correctly. You should not be from a place of anger. You should have sat down and thought about this some. And if you are angry, then that may not be the time to broach the subject. Give it a day or two, and then come back and broach it between you and the person. And in some instances, because now I'm at the central office level, there are times where you may need a mediator. You may need a third person to come in to try to help you repair the damage, depending upon how great the damage is.
Yeah, and I think that it's very important. And as I said before, you have to be willing to deal with what's at hand. Now, I disagree to a point, Shika, with the you can't be successful if you are a person that don't like conflict. I despise conflict. Now, I don't have a problem dealing with it. That's
Well,
the
that's
difference.
my point. If you
Yeah,
don't like conflict and you avoid it, you will
yeah.
not be successful. So
You
you can
cannot be
disagree, but I am
successful.
correct.
I don't agree that I don't like it, but I'm not going to allow it to fester. That's
Hmm.
not going to happen.
Right.
Now, I'm the person you though kind of are that like, yeah, we got some conflict. Come on, I enjoy.
Yeah,
Let's,
I don't enjoy
let's
it, but I don't run from nothing. I'm here for it. I ain't finna back down from nothing.
yeah,
If I
no.
got something to say, you gonna know it.
I have a little more patience and can let you kind of stew to hopefully you get over it or whatever has happened. But when we get to that point where like, now you've had enough time to work yourself through this, now I need to help you. So there we go. I've got to deal with what we are dealing with. And because of that, I am a person who can deal with conflict in a way that makes people feel comfortable. Like, okay, look, whatever this is, we can sort our way through it. We just have to make sure that we're honest about it. We're not going to be walking around, as Shika said, sulking and acting like a toddler, because that's what happens. We need to use our words to discuss what is going on. What's the problem? And I saw that Principal Hurd had said before, you have to be willing to address the elephant in the room. You cannot ignore the fact that sitting in the middle of the conference room table, you're trying to have a meeting, can't nobody even see each other because the elephant takes up the entire room. You've got to deal with the issues that are at hand so that you can move on from that. And what happens when you are not willing to address that situation for what it is, it just gets to be bigger and bigger. And as it amplifies, what happens is it creates more undercurrents, and then it starts to impact the relationships outside of the team. And that's what begins to crumble the culture. Your
Absolutely.
culture will be completely annihilated if you allow conflicts to pop up here, pop up there. You never deal with anything. And that becomes how we do business at the school. And one of the things, and I don't know if you remember that or not, Shika,
Got
but when
money.
we were watching that video about when Principal Kafele was doing the culture talk,
Hmm.
like trying to make sure people understand the difference between culture and climate. That's why sometimes that gets convoluted, because now the way that we do business is really not the way that we do business, because everybody's walking on eggshells and we're tiptoeing and tap dancing around what the real issues are rather than dealing with them head on. And as you said, being completely transparent about what's going on.
Absolutely. And Josh is right. You can't
Principal.
be a chicken because if you shy away from the tough conversations, it's not going to work. You won't be
Did you see what
successful.
Principal Hurt said?
Yeah,
Dr.
Dr. Houston wants that smoke. That's
She
right.
loves smoke.
I'm about to smoke,
Principal.
Dr. Principal Hurt. I'm about to smoke.
She
You know,
loves some
you
smoke.
might not like it, but you know, we're
Like,
gonna have
go
this
on out of here,
conversation.
honey.
But we wanted to make sure we address that because it was it's a real thing that I think a lot of people need help with, that a lot of people don't talk about. So we are glad that you all enjoyed this. Please don't forget to order Amir's Awakening and join Principal Kafele next. He has a wonderful guest on for his show, and then join Josh. And I'm not sure if Dr. Marty Moreno is back or not yet on Sunday. And then right back here on Super Saturday, starting off with Principal Sean Hurt, yours truly at 10:30, and Principal Kafele for Super Saturday. Have a great rest of your Saturday, everyone.
Bye, y'all.